on a tear as of late. As you see, a big slap to the face, waking up Dice, reminding him who he is.
Now, I'm not sure why the referee is stopping Dice there. Being that this is a Terrordome match, the first time ever in East Tennessee, EWC is bringing this to you specially. It was a notion created by EWC former Commissioner Billy Henry, who has since had to leave the company due to personal issues. EWC senior official Keith Fee has been named as acting commissioner for Empire Wrestling Coalition, but this match was the brainchild of EWC Commissioner Billy Henry. He was tired of War Incorporated running in matches. He was tired of them shirking their duties. They would run, they wouldn't defend their titles, they would take count-out victories. And he was just tired of seeing War Incorporated run from the High Rollers. So he devised this match so that way they couldn't run. I mean, you can see already how brutal this is. We see Brett Mulligan in the corner with David Steele. We see Judge J.D. Anderson going to work on Dice. We see Damian Arcane going to work on Scott Douglas here. I mean, this is not a match for the weak at heart, ladies and gentlemen. Their rules have been thrown out the window for this. It's just a no-holds-barred match. And we see over on the side of the ring, the Outlaw, who came out with Brett Mulligan and the High Rollers, is handcuffed to Miss J.J. Davis. That was another brainchild from the former commissioner. He was tired of seeing J.J. Davis get involved in matches. He was tired of seeing her interfere. He was tired of seeing her cheat the High Rollers out of their matches. So he decided that she would be handcuffed to the Outlaw to prevent her interference in the match. And if there's one man in the EWC that can keep J.J. Davis in line, I would have to say it's the Outlaw.
Well, let me tell you, this War Incorporated, they're animals. They don't care what happens to their own bodies. They don't care what they put themselves through. And if the High Rollers think they could come together and take care of War Inc. tonight in this barbed wire cage match, they're crazy. And then they bring in the Cowboy. And I got to tell you, it's not fair for War Inc. to have this Cowboy Brett Mulligan coming in, new North American champion. And if there's anything left of Brett Mulligan, and which I doubt after this barbed wire cage match, then Gabe Thunder Rock and myself are going to make sure that there are sunny days, if you know what I'm talking about, ahead for Brett Mulligan.
We see now Damian Arcane in the corner in the side of the ring there with Scott Douglas raking his face across the barbed wire. I mean, that's just going to rip his face to shreds.
Well, and also in the opposite corner, the judge is passing his sentence on Brett Mulligan.
The Judge J.D. Anderson is actually paired up with Dice at this time. David Steele is over in the corner with Brett Mulligan taking care of business. We see J.D. Anderson there trying to push Dice into the barbed wire. It didn't happen. Ooh, with the help of Damian Arcane there now, Judge J.D. Anderson has the upper hand on Dice. He's trying to push his face towards that barbed wire. Dice is fighting hard. He's trying to grab that barbed wire, keep it away from his face, but I don't think he's going to be successful on this one. We can hear Dice screaming in pain there. Brett Mulligan already bleeding. Apparently David Steele got to him in the corner. Oh, a beautiful DDT there by Brett Mulligan on David Steele.
Well, I got to tell you, I've got to apologize for calling Dice Brett Mulligan. I've got Brett Mulligan on my brain tonight, that cowboy, that rough, tough cowboy. We're going to see who the horse is next time that Gabe Rock and myself gets that cowboy in the ring. But Dice was not rolling high when he got his sentence passed by the judge.
There's been a long-standing feud between Dice and Scott Douglas and all the members of War Incorporated here. Dice and Scott Douglas are former tag team partners. Scott Douglas was out in Las Vegas running his casinos. He met Dice out there. Dice was doing several different forms of mixed martial arts competitions. Scott Douglas got involved in the wrestling business. When he needed someone on his side, he remembered his roots. He went back to Las Vegas. He got Dice to come into the ring with him. The two were a great tag team. They went their separate ways for a while. Scott Douglas held singles gold here in the Empire Wrestling Coalition. And because of this feud with War Incorporated, the two men got back together. There we see Brett Mulligan in the corner with the judge, J.D. Anderson, and a baseball bat that has been wrapped in barbed wire.
And I gotta tell you, it's going to take something to take care of War Inc. And perhaps Brett Mulligan is on his way, as on the outside, this lady and this masked outlaw. He's keeping the lady back. What's she gonna do? She's gonna crawl through the barbed wire and shred herself to pieces just to get in this match? I don't think so.
Well, Miss J.J. Davis is a very determined individual. She is the manager and financial advisor for War Incorporated, and I'm sure she can see the money leaving her bank account right now, because if War Incorporated, a vicious shot with some kind of metal trash can lid, a pan or something there, by dice on David Steele. But as I was saying, Miss J.J. Davis is the financial advisor of War Incorporated, and she's just seeing that money fly right out of her bank account now, because if War Incorporated gets injured in this match to the point where they're out of this business for any length of time due to injuries and having to recover, that's money out of her pocket, and I'm sure she wouldn't mind a few scratches to try to get involved in this match to keep money in her bank account. I have never seen a woman in my life more focused on money than Miss J.J. Davis, the Wall Street Queen.
And if you look at the face, the battered face of Dice as he's getting his you-know-what handed to him by Dave Steele, he's almost out. He's losing blood by the second. The more blood he loses, the more out he's going to be.
Yes, we see that David Steele is bleeding. The judge, J.D. Anderson, is also bleeding. And right now, Scott Douglas is pushing Damian Arcane into the barbed wire there on the side of the ring. And I'm sure pretty soon Damian Arcane's going to be bleeding as well. I mean, we knew when this match was signed, this was going to be a horrible bloodbath of a match. But, what else can you do? The hatred between these 6 individuals in the ring is so big, it would take a big match like this to contain all of that energy and that hatred.
I don't know, Jade. I don't know how you could call this a match. This is a fight. This is, wow.
This is just a devastating match. I don't think any of these individuals are going to be the same after this match. I mean, they're losing blood. I mean, this is just a devastating match on their bodies. Their bodies are taking a great physical toll. There we see Damian Arcane is in fact bleeding. I'm not really sure what kind of an effect this is going to have on all 6 of these individuals. I expect we may not see some of them in competition for a long time. Vicious shot there by the superstar Scott Douglas on Damian Arcane. One on David Steele. But J.D. Anderson turns around in time to catch him. He backs Scott Douglas into the corner there. Seems to be choking him. Oh, Scott Douglas still had his hands on the pan. He got J.D. Anderson right in the back of the head with that pan, that metal lid, whatever it is he's got in the ring there.
Scott Douglas has the nerve to call himself a superstar. Yeah, he may have came close to beating J.D. Anderson on more than one occasion, but he did not, I repeat, he did not defeat J.D. Anderson in a fair one-on-one competition. And you think this fight tonight? No way is he going to be able to come out on top.
See Scott Douglas there possibly setting up for, a low blow there on Damian Arcane. We see Dice crawling over there in the corner. His clothes are soaked with blood already. He seems to be down for the count. I don't know, how much of his wits he has about him. He's getting to his feet now with Scott Douglas, possibly going for a tag. A leg drop and a low blow there for Damian Arcane.
Well, it's going to take some kind of strategy, and I wonder what the strategy...
I hate to interrupt you, but David Steele just dropped a bag of thumbtacks in the ring.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. Thousands of thumbtacks just went scattering across the ring from that Walmart bag that's there in the corner of somebody.